Hello, I'm Kevin Watler, and this is your CMR Daily Buzz. Premier the Honorable Wayne Panton said he intends to propose to fellow parliamentarians that Emancipation Day be returned to the schedule of public holidays more than 60 years after it was removed. Mr. Panton was speaking on Premier Access with Sandra Hill on Wednesday. He said he was listening to the discussion about Emancipation Day a few days earlier on The Cold Hard Truth and realized there was a renewed interest in having Emancipation Day as a public holiday.
You know, we celebrate things like Discovery Day as if somebody wasn't around, or why would we celebrate Discovery Day when we have something much more important like Emancipation Day? I'm not saying we're going to replace it. I think the Bahamas actually replaced Discovery Day with National Heroes Day. But no matter what we do, I personally feel that Cayman has a very interesting and unique emancipation history. The fact that slavery was supposed to technically end in Cayman on the 1st of August, 1834, and it wasn't until 1835, I think it was in May 1835, 3rd of May, that the Governor Sligo had to send somebody here to say, hey, you've got to adhere to this the abolition of slavery declaration. And then we also had the apprenticeship stuff that went on for a little while longer as well. I personally find it fascinating. I think it's really an important part of our history that we should not, our children should be aware of. We should not just ignore it and let it go. I personally believe, I think in earlier times we did have, I believe, an Emancipation Day holiday, and I think there's now a renewed interest. As I said, I was really surprised to hear the conversation on your show, and I think it really reflects a renewed interest in having Emancipation Day as a public holiday. And I think it's a part of our history that we shouldn't ignore. It's a really important aspect.
According to the Cayman Islands National Archives, it appears that Emancipation Day was first celebrated as a public holiday in the Cayman Islands from August 1st, 1895 until 1960, when it was last celebrated. In 1961, it was removed to accommodate the introduction of a new holiday, Constitution Day. Constitution Day was introduced to the schedule that year to be observed on July 4th, 1961. The Consumer Price Index increased by 12.1% in the second quarter of 2022 when compared to the same period in 2021. 11 of the 12 CPI divisions recorded increases in average prices, as education recorded a 0.6% decline. Visit caymanmallroad.com for a more detailed look on this story. The Department of Environment's Marine Unit responded to a coral damage report just 1 week away from Coral Fest. Last week, an incident of extensive coral damage at the Eden Rock dive site was reported to the DOE by a concerned member of the public. The investigation revealed several chunks of large coral was torn from the reef, which appeared to be caused by a large ship grounding. The DOE responded by uprighting the damaged corals and is in process of reattaching them to the reef to ensure further damage would not occur to them. A domestic incident caused quite a scene on Thursday. It began near the airport area and then ended around the automotive art area following a vehicle chase by the two involved. CMR understands a police sergeant with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service was attacked by his wife after she found him with another woman. During the confrontation, trees were knocked down and several vehicles were damaged. CMR reached out to the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service for comment, but have not received a response. A Jamaican fugitive recently deported from the Cayman Islands has been charged with murder by the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Rudolph Boxer Shaw, considered one of the most wanted men in St. Catherine, Jamaica, was charged with murder and shooting with intent on Monday. Reports are that on September 29, 2021, 59-year-old Wilfred O'Connor, a carpenter of St. John's Road in St. Catherine, was standing in his yard when a Nissan AD wagon motor vehicle drove up with armed men aboard. The men exited the vehicle and opened gunfire, hitting him. The gunmen then drove to another section of the community where they fired several shots, hitting 4 men who were standing along the roadway. All 5 people were taken to the hospital, where O'Connor was pronounced dead and the others admitted in serious but stable condition. Shaw was a person of interest in the shootings. However, he managed to elude the police until he was then caught in the Cayman Islands last month. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service reported that shortly before 12:30 in the afternoon on July 8th, they arrested Shaw in the vicinity of Seymour Road in Georgetown. Firearms Response Unit officers in a marked service vehicle approached a vehicle with 2 occupants. The vehicle's occupants attempted to evade the police and rammed into the police vehicle, causing their vehicle to become disabled. The police captured the wanted man. However, the other man escaped on foot. Police did not put out a description of the man who escaped. Police continue to look for Luisto Eusebio Hernandez in relation to firearm offenses. He is considered armed and dangerous and should not be approached. If seen, call 911 immediately. The search is still on for 2 missing men. 53-year-old Noel Paul Manning has been missing since June 24th, and 26-year-old Adrian Williamson has been missing since July 6th. Now you are asked to contact your nearest police station if you see them. Anonymous tips can be provided directly to the RCIPS via their confidential tip line at 949-7777 or via their website. More information on each of these stories can be found at caymanmallroad.com. Now for your CMR weather update, it's brought to you by WG Charters. Sunrise at 6:03, mostly cloudy skies expected. The temperature rises to the high 80s, but it will feel much hotter than that. When the high temperature is at 88 degrees Fahrenheit and the relative humidity is at 70% like the forecast calls for, the temperature will feel around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour and the sun sets at 6:59. When it cools at nighttime, the temperature falls to the low 80s. Looking forward, there's a slight increase in the rain chance on Saturday. It's summertime, so hot days and warm nights with scattered showers are very typical for this time of year. CMR weather updates are brought to you by WG Charters. They offer private boat trips for a great price, so we encourage you to support them. Now for some regional and international news. The sell-off in the oil market gathered momentum Thursday on growing concerns about the weakening demand for gasoline. U.S. oil dropped 2.3% to $88.54 a barrel, the weakest settle since February 2nd. Brent crude, the world benchmark, fell around 3%. A government report released Wednesday unnerved oil traders by revealing an unexpected build to both crude oil and gasoline stockpiles, suggesting demand is cooling off. Some people stopped driving as much when gasoline surged above $5 a gallon in mid-June in the United States. Since then, the national average for regular gas has declined 51 days in a row, dropping to $4.14 a gallon on Thursday, according to AAA. The Biden administration declared monkeypox a public health emergency on Thursday as cases topped 6,600 in the USA. The declaration could facilitate access to emergency funds, allow health agencies to collect more data about cases and vaccinations, accelerate vaccine distribution, and make it easier for doctors to prescribe treatment. A quarter of the U.S. cases are in New York State, which declared a state of emergency last week. California and Illinois followed suit with emergency declarations on Monday. WNBA star Brittany Griner was found guilty of drug smuggling and cannabis possession charges in a Russian court on Thursday and sentenced to 9 years in prison. She was also fined 1 million Russian rubles, which is just over $16,000 US. Prosecutors were seeking a 9.5-year sentence for Griner. The verdict comes after a trial that lasted 1 month, and Griner was arrested at a Moscow airport in February for having vape cartridges with cannabis oil in her luggage. During closing arguments on Wednesday, over 6 months after originally being detained, the 31-year-old WNBA star told the judge that she never meant to break any law. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis suspended a state attorney Thursday who said he wouldn't prosecute abortions prohibited by Florida's new 15-week ban.
Most recently, after the Dobbs decision was rendered by the U.S. Supreme Court, he signed a letter saying he would not enforce any laws relating to protecting the right to life in the state of Florida. And mind you, we have had prohibition on third trimester abortions for a long time. We've had prohibitions on partial birth abortions for a long time. And then most recently, the legislature enacted and I signed protections for unborn babies at 3.5 months. And when they are aborted, it's typically done through a dismemberment procedure, which is really inhumane. Nevertheless, that is what the legislature has enacted, and it's not for him to put himself above that and say that he is not going to enforce the laws. We don't elect people in one part of the state to have veto power over what the entire state decides on these important issues. The Constitution of Florida has vested the veto power in the governor, not in individual state attorneys. And so when you flagrantly violate your oath of office, when you make yourself above the law, you have violated your duty, you have neglected your duty, and you are displaying a lack of competence to be able to perform those duties. And so today we are suspending State Attorney Andrew Warren, effective immediately.
Hillsborough County State Attorney Warren is viewed as a rising liberal leader in the Tampa Bay area. He was one of 90 prosecutors in the United States who pledged not to prosecute women receiving an abortion from their doctor. Governor DeSantis said Warren has selectively enforced laws and that is not for him to put himself above the law. The Florida Senate will decide whether to remove Warren from office. DeSantis signed a bill earlier this year that bans most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy, with no exceptions for rape or incest. The law does include exceptions for a pregnant woman's life and if a fatal fetal abnormality is detected. That's it for now on the Daily Buzz. Thanks for joining me. Please stay safe and God bless.